Welcome to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I'm John Burt. I want to thank you for joining me today. And today I just want to talk a little bit about kind of what's going on around the state and maybe touch base a little bit on the feds. I better write down the time. Hold on one second. Okay. So now I'm good on the time. Sorry about that, but that'd been something if I gone over. But I need your help a little bit, and if you go to my website, burtnh.com, you'll see my email there, and I want to have you email me. There's this bill coming up, and I just saw it in the paper today. What it's going to do, and I need your advice on to support it or not to support it, because I can see both ways. And what it is who is it? It's Representative Shurtleff, and he's a Democrat, and I'm not sure where he's from. But it's a good bill. Representative Shurtleff, he's the one that put in the repeal of Stand Your Ground. I don't know if you remember, I talked quite a bit about that because Second Amendment is, I love the Second Amendment, and I believe in every citizen should, be able to protect themselves, just as the Second Amendment allows. But here, he tried to repeal that, and luckily it failed. So I don't know where his thinking was. But, Representative Shurtleff, I do like him. He seems like a nice gentleman. So, I'm not, what I like about state politics is, as far as I'm concerned, he messed up on that bill. He shouldn't have put it in. It was a terrible bill. He did anyways. He couldn't get any co-sponsors. But now he puts in a good bill. And what I like about state politics is we can shake hands and say, you know what, I like this bill. I didn't like your last one, but I like this one, and I'm going to help you. It's a little different than local politics. Local politics for some reason is more personal, and people, seem to get upset more, where, I don't play those games, and I wish the local people, there are a few that like the politics games, and I just don't join in those. But what this bill here does, that Representative Shurtleff's bringing forward, and it came out of the House Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee, 17-1 to recommend it. And for that committee, I can't remember how many Republicans are on it, but it is a Democrat committee. To have that 17-1, that's a pretty good bill. But what this bill is going to do is New Hampshire could let newly convicted drunk drivers continue to drive. So if you could email me and let me know what your thoughts on that. And from what I'm understanding, the bill is, and I have to read the full bill. I haven't seen it. It's not in front of me yet. What it will do is, I guess there's these breathalyzers. When you get DWI, you can get these for your vehicle, and you blow into it, and as long as you're clean, the car will start and you can drive off. Well, currently, if you get your first DWI, you're done. You can't drive. And then you have to go through the process, and I guess it's quite a, as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't do it. But why this bill is in front of us is because of the devastation, what it does to the families. And that's the side I'm looking at. And what surprised me, and I think this is where it's leading me to support it, is MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. They support the bill. Because they're saying, you know what, the wife, husband, whoever's the non-drinker, and the children, why should they suffer with the spouse losing their job? And, the cost and everything else. And this doesn't go without cost. It's about $80 a month to do this. But what it does is it just allows you to put one of those breathalyzer things in your vehicle, and then you can only go to your job, medical. There's very, restrictive. Now, the New Hampshire police chiefs, they don't support it. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, a lot of stuff they support and don't support for some reason, and I like the police, but when it comes to the New Hampshire Police Chiefs Association, I've been on the opposite side of them a lot, and most of it's over gun issues. Apparently they don't think we should have the Second Amendment. Now, I don't know if that's true, but every time there's a pro-gun bill, they're against it, and every time there's a anti-gun bill, they're for it. And I'm going, hello. This isn't the way it should be. You should go out and get the bad guys with the guns that shouldn't have them. Arrest them. Leave me alone. I'm law-abiding. And that was another thing. Did you see that today? It was in the paper, November 24th is when it was in the paper. And it was a Manchester double shooting over on Lake Ave. I'm not really sure if I know where that is. I think I do. I've been over there a couple times, and I don't think that's a good part of town if I remember right. I think I drove through it a couple times, but I should have Googled that and looked it up on the internet. But it left 2 people wounded, and just when I saw that, I said, oh, here they come. They're going to want our guns again. Because that's what it seems like. You get a felon that has a gun and he goes shoots 2 people, and I hope they get better, and I guess it's not life-threatening injuries from what the report said that I saw. But the first thing out of some of the police and the Democrats, they'll go, oh, we got to take everybody's gun, and I just go, I'm law-abiding, leave me alone on that. But if you could, let me know on this DWI vote here. If you can, look it up, and hopefully you saw the article in the paper. And it just allows first-time offenders, that they screwed up and they shouldn't be doing it. And I just say, please, don't even do it and just save yourself the headaches. But especially with the education today that's out there. It was like cigarettes. Back in the 60s, nobody knew what the cigarettes were going to do to you, or the 50s, and people smoked. Today, people understand. And, same way with DWI, driving while intoxicated. You know the harm that can happen, so you shouldn't do it. The other is, again, on Sunday, November 24th. I'm sorry, we're taping after that, but I used to own an arborist business, a tree service, and it used to be Burt's Tree Service up in Barnet, Vermont, and I had it for 18 years. And, tree service is, it's in the top 10 most dangerous jobs in the country. And I did it for 18 years, and, luckily I got all my fingers and toes and everything else, and, we never had an accident. One kid back in, I'm trying to think if it was 96 or 7, it might even been 98, somewhere's up in there, 99, he accidentally touched himself with a chainsaw and had to have like 3 stitches, 4 or 5 stitches, and that was the only accident that I've ever had, knock on wood. And, for 18 years, I had a pretty heavy safety program in my tree service, but, here's a tragic story. That huge windstorms we just had just before Thanksgiving, that weekend before Thanksgiving. On Sunday up in Laconia, a tree fell on a 54-year-old man, and, he was working for a tree service, and it killed him. And, every time I see these stories, it just, it pulls at my heart a little bit because, I know how dangerous it is. And, I've lost a lot of fellow, people in the tree care industry. It is a very dangerous job. The other is, did you see Senator Shaheen and Rep. Shea Porter? For some reason, they're kind of like tiptoeing away from Obamacare. They're like, oh, gee, we didn't have anything to do with that. Well, you know the truth. Every one of them, they all voted for it blindly. I mean, they don't care. They just sit there and they go, wow, we got to vote on this before we know what's in it. Well, why don't you read the bill and see what the devastation it's going to bring to this country and not vote for it? But oh no, they went and they voted for it. And I guess there's like 17 or, 17 or 20 of them, Democrats, that voted for this. And now they're going up and seeing the president and saying, hey, could you extend this for 1 year until after the elections? Wink, wink. And then after the elections, we'll let the insurance rates go up and everything else go up. And unfortunately, President Obama agreed. He says, yep, we'll get through 14, and then we'll reveal the true Obamacare, that what it's going to cost us and the devastation it's going to do to this country. Yeah, so hopefully you won't be fooled by that, and you'll vote right in November of 14, because that's what we need. We need people to be educated and understand the issues here. And I'm going to be talking about the expanded Medicaid that New Hampshire just tried to pass on, when was I up there? November 21st. It was on a Thursday this time. Usually we're in the House on Wednesday, but this time it was Thursday, and it failed. The Senate killed it. So, I want to talk a little bit about that when I get moving on. But again, Senator Shaheen and Senator or Representative Shea Porter, they say yes, we voted for Obamacare, but we're taking care of the people. We're going to get a year extension. Well, the inevitable is still the inevitable. The damage is done. They voted for it, so I hope you remember this. Kelly Ayotte, she didn't vote for this, and I hope you remember that. I just want to touch base a little bit about my selectman's race. For the ones that haven't heard, I am going to run for Goffstown Selectman once the filing periods opens up. I think it's in January, so I'm way early, but I want to get my name out there. I am going to be running for Selectman here in Goffstown, and hopefully I'll have your support on that. One funny thing that I did want to touch base. Like I said, do you remember those winds that we had before Thanksgiving? Oh, were they bad. Well, I pulled a bonehead thing. Guess what I did Saturday night before the big windstorm on Sunday? I go down to this rental place, and I rented a post hole digger because I want to put in this, it's only three panels, 3-panel stockade fence. There's an old one that's 4 panels on my property line, and I'm going to reduce it down to 3 panels, and I'm moving it over a little bit onto my property. I own 2 pieces of property there, which is linked now down on Bay Street. But what was funny is I rented it Saturday. Well, it was great weather Saturday. Well, I woke up Sunday morning, and I'm normally really good about watching the weather. Oh my God, I saw that weather and the wind and the storms, and it was really cold that day. And I said, well, I got this thing sitting in the truck. I guess I got to use it. So I went out about 8:30, and we drilled those holes, put the post in, and put the fence up. And it looks good. And what I was happy was at the end of the day, the fence was still up. So I guess I did something right, but I can't believe I did that. Like I said, normally I keep an eye on the weather, and I just got caught not watching, but I ended up surviving. I did it. The next day, it did feel like a truck ran me over. I was pretty tired, and it did get to me. One thing that I am going to be bringing, hopefully, pretty soon, I'm going to have, just I don't know how long the video will be. But I got a pretty fancy chicken coop, what people tell me. I got a couple chickens out in my backyard, and I really like having them. I just got a drape opener. That's what they call it. And it's 4 chicken doors. So I'm going to have, at 7 o'clock in the morning, this door is going to go open up, and then half hour after dusk, the door goes down. I'll still go out there and do a head count, make sure everything's good. But religiously, I've had them chickens for years now, a long time. Not one of them has ever stayed out after dusk. They're in there. So I feel very confident. And the biggest thing that I want this for, and it's going to cost, with all the strings and everything, it's going to cost about $100 with the timer. But the thing I really wanted is there's times my wife and I go out and we don't get back until 9, 10 o'clock at night. And though that door is open, because let's say we leave at 3 in the afternoon, well, we can't chase all the chickens in. We have a hard time corralling them up because they don't like going in until it's time. So what this is going to do is it's going to get them inside and then shut the door, and then we don't feel so rushed to get home, to make sure they're safe, because there are predators that will go around and See all those chickens in there with a wide open door. Well, it's only a small door, about the size of a paper, really. And they bob in and out. So I'm going to make a video of that, and I'll show it to you sometime. But it's going to be really, really cool. I mean, I just can't wait. You know, it's kind of a hobby, this chicken coop of mine that I have. But you know, and if you're ever thinking about chickens, stop down to, you know, give me a call first or an email, and stop down to my house. And I love showing it off. And you know, I don't expect anybody to have anything this fancy. It is a little too probably fancy for what's needed. But like I said, it's a hobby. I do it on the weekends. I go out and I paint, and I'll build a new section of it. And you know, it's pretty cool. I have a lot of fun doing it, and my neighbors just love the chickens. Matter of fact, there's a stockade fence on my neighbor's property, and they dug a hole underneath so the chickens can go in and out, and they got a fenced-in area on their side. And my neighbors across the road, they've borrowed the chickens for their garden. They'll fence them off, and they'll throw them in there for a couple weeks. It's just so much fun. You know, we have a lot of fun. So if you're really thinking about chickens in the spring, give me a holler. You know, I'd love to have you down, and you know, we show it off to a lot of people. Yeah. And I guess that's about it. Oh, there is one thing that I'm kind of flattered on. You've heard me talk a lot about this New Hampshire housing finance, and it's basically HUD. HUD's at the government, New Hampshire housing finance is at the state level. They're the people that brought us Planned Parenthood. Remember how we defeated that? And now they're bringing us this other disaster, and the more I read about it, the more I'm against it. So I'm probably going to be rallying you guys up to go down and tell the selectmen, say, look, we need to get out of this. And that's that Ready, Set, Go program, if I'm getting the name right. It's just something that I'm just looking at, and we don't need it. It's government involvement where they don't belong, which is in the private business. You know, government should just get out of our way. So we have, I think, 7 planning commissions throughout New Hampshire, and I don't know which one we belong to. I want to say we belong to the Southern Planning Commission. But they had this video, and I'm going to try to put this up on my website, burtnh.com. I'll put this up before this airs, because I've been wanting to do a story on this. Somebody sent me this video, and they said, John, you got to go to 1 hour and minute 25 and start watching the video. So I did. This is an unelected board that has a lot of control over what we do in this state. Unelected. I want to make sure that is explained. Well, here's this guy that runs all of this, the New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority. His name is Ben Frost. Again, paid by the taxpayers, but it's all unelected. Not sure how these people got appointed there, but they're unelected. So at this point, he starts talking about me. And I'm going, whoa, what are they talking about? Well, I got a bill in that hopefully it's going to go through, but they're already talking how they're going to try. So tax dollars are going to try to kill this. I want to make sure you know that too. I'm not happy about that. I don't think our tax dollars should be used to go against the will of the people. Now this bill that I put in, this bill, and I'll try to get a copy of that too, put up on the line, approves the legislative body of the town, so it's our selectmen, have to, you know, before they can accept any grants toward workforce housing, they have to put it before the voters. Now they're going to say, oh, we can't do that because of the time, you know, these grants are time sensitive, we won't have time. But you know what, before 1994, all grants from the federal government or state went before the voters. That's what I was told. Right before you guys. And then you decided, yes, I want this. And if more people say yes, that's democracy. Right now, it's not. We're letting a 5-board selectmen decide that we're going to get into bed with these people? I don't think that's right. I think it should be the voters. So I got this bill in. That's all it says. It's a real short bill. It's less than a quarter of a page long. And it's to amend RSA 674. And it's 674:59-A. That's what I'm going to insert this section in there. And it just says that before they can accept any of these grants, it has to go before the voters. Just like the old days. It worked then, it can work now. So when they say it's time sensitive, all that is just to get you guys to vote no on this. So like I said, well, this is going to be up to the State House, but I understand there's going to be something coming for a warrant article similar to this. So I'll be talking more about that, but it's just funny. Here they have this bigwig meeting, again, non-elected people, all taxpayer paid 100%, and they all make very good money. And I'm sure there's a car and everything else they're getting in there. But one, I didn't get his last name, so I'm going to try to find out who this is. But in the video, when I watched it, his name is Steven. And he's about halfway over when you see the video, if you look at the website. But at minute 27, almost 50, he brings up about transparency. And he says how, the legislators up to Concord, they have no transparency. And I'm going, are you serious? Everything is transparent. I am pretty happy about that. I'm sure there's a few things behind closed doors that, happen, but boy, the majority of it is right out in front of the public. And there's this lobbyist, Nancy Johnson. She did come right up and she says, excuse me, Stephen. And then she said his last name, and it's I didn't quite hear it again. And she goes, I'll be honest, transparency is pretty big up to the State House. We videotape the House proceedings. Every hearing is open to the public. They're pretty open up there. You can bring your video camera, tape all you want, even right down the hallways. I know there's a couple. Dave Ridley, he does it all the time. He's got his camcorder and he's got his little sign that says, hey, I'm videotaping you. And that's what I like. I love seeing the cameras up there. So for this unelected person that's on the taxpayer's dole, to come out and say, oh, there's no transparency. Well, let's, not be throwing rocks in a glass house, because where is there no transparency? With the New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority, in these boards, these planning commissions. That is where there's no transparency. They have all these meetings behind closed doors, and who knows what's being said. They keep no minutes, and that's why I was surprised this one was open to the public. But a guy went in there. I don't know who it was. He did send me an email. Well, he didn't send it, but somebody else sent an email and said it was up on a website. So, but that's something I'll be posting up on my website. You can take a look at it. And now on the expanded Medicaid, like I said, on the 24th, I voted no for expanded Medicaid. And I want to tell you why. I did receive some emails from Goffstown residents, and they were generated from, what's that, .org. Geez, it's right on the end of my tongue, and I can't remember. MoveOn.org. That's who it is. Well, I guess if you get MoveOn.org, somehow I get the emails, and I still receive them because I could opt out, but I'm going, I don't really believe in much of what they say, but I'll still look at their emails. I like it, because then that way I do kind of get both sides, and I'll look, okay, is this right? But what I was surprised on was I did get a couple emails from local people, and I responded to them. And it's a generic form, all filled out. All you got to do is put your name in there, hit send, and MoveOn.org will find your legislators, which is me in Goffstown. And then there's, five others of us. So I'm sure all of us get the same email. And they'll say, Dear Representative Burt, and it's word for word except for the person's name. Identical. I'm not a big fan of those emails, only because I'd prefer to hear from you personally, which I did on the no side. I received a lot of emails on the no side saying, please don't vote for this because this is what it will do to the state of New Hampshire. This is what it will do to the people, to the taxpayers. And those came from a personal side. I love reading those personal emails. And even if you did support the expanded Medicaid, if you sent me a personal email, I just take it more to heart. Those generic emails, yes, do I look at them because you did take the time to fill them out? And yes, I do. But I really would prefer, the emails from you personally. So what happened is, I got more no votes, which I was going to vote no anyways because I just see the bill as not a good bill, this current bill. And I am all for helping the truly needy. I got on the House floor and I said that. I got up there on the 21st and I said, you know what? Bottom line, I am for helping the truly needy, but this bill is not the bill to do it. Unfortunately, the House passed it, not with my vote. I can't remember what the number was. Oh, right here, 198 to 146. So I think that was virtually right down. It says 97% of Republicans voted against this bill. So there was 3% that voted with it. I'm not sure how many Democrats went with us, which I think there was a couple. But what it was going to do was this expanded Medicaid was going to expand 58,000 more New Hampshire people. If you make a poverty line of 100 to 132, that's the last number I heard. At one time I thought it was 139, but now I'm hearing 132%. It would allow you to be on Medicaid. And that's basically, the taxpayers are paying for it. The government runs it. I think Medicaid works in some incidents. I think it does in others. I know there's abuse. And again, if you are truly needy, I'm all for that. I want to help people like that. But we have a lot of abuse. And I think this bill was abusive because I want to point out a couple things of what it was going to do. It was going to allow 58,000 people to join the Medicaid rolls. Now, by doing that, I heard it was going to take 25 to 30,000 of those 58 currently have private health care. So it's going to take them off the private health care that they're paying for, and it's probably not the greatest health care, but it's going to pull them off that health care and throw them on this government dole health care. And I'm going, all right, then where is the incentive? There's no incentive for those people to ever better themselves. But right now, those 30,000 or 25,000, whatever the number is, they have an incentive to get better and to work harder and to keep going. And again, the truly needy, if you're disabled or you got in a major car wreck and you've lost everything, we need to help you. I'm all for that. But these are working people that we're just going to grab out of the private sector and throw them onto Medicaid. That was one of the biggest reasons I voted no for this. The other, before I get too far, I have this paper, and I'm going to put it up on the screen. This is probably top secret from the State House. I don't think Representative John Burt should have it. But it was laying around. A Republican picked it up, and let me tell you what it is. State of New Hampshire Majority Office, House of Representatives. And this is the House Democrat Caucus information sheet. When I was in the majority, last year, I received one of these from the Republican side. And now I receive a minority paper. And they tell us, look, don't let the other side see it. They don't want that information out. But what it does, it basically tells you what's happening today. And they say, you know, if you can, vote this way. Wink, wink. So that way you don't have to think. Well, I wish they didn't have these, because I feel, you know what, if you're a representative, you should be doing your homework, and you should be voting the way you think is right and the way your constituents say. But it goes down through and it says, you know, about finance, you know, pass this amendment. And there are 2 amendments, and it says, please pass them. They were both Democrat amendments. Then there was 34, most of them good. There was a few I'm going, why is that there? But most of them were good Republican amendments that would have made this expanded Medicaid a lot better if it passed, which it did. It got to the Senate, and the Senate killed it because it's a bad bill. That's why. It's not that we don't want to help the truly needy. I'm all for that. But right on the bottom here, and you're going to see this, it says, after please vote yes on these 2 amendments, Democrat amendments, please vote no on all other amendments. You know, some of those amendments they didn't even see yet. They were just barely introduced. And the Democrats are already saying, vote no, just put the blinders on. They put the blinders on, just vote no. That's it. They're Republicans, bad. Well, how is that partisan? You know, we're supposed to be up there working for the people. You know, it was like the DWI bill. That's being brought forward by a Democrat. You know what? I don't care. I'm going to look at that bill. But no, the Democrats that are in control up there, they're going to vote no for every Republican thing. And that is wrong, because that doesn't help the state of New Hampshire. But, so I just wanted to show you that, and I'm sure that's probably supposed to be stamped top secret. Because I don't think I'm supposed to have this in my hands. You know, not that it's illegal to have it, because, hey, they just left it. I don't know who picked it up, but somebody sent me this in an email. They said, hey, John, look what we found. And I'm looking at it going, oh, really? This is what they're up to. So it was just funny. But why I wanted to bring that up to you is because I wanted to talk to you about some of the amendments. One is cost caps. This amendment, if the program exceeds 12% cost growth in a 2-year period, the program would automatically terminate. Well, we got to have some type of safeguards. You know, they're saying, oh, if we expanded Medicaid, you know, it'll only be a little bit of money. It ain't going to be a lot. It is. It's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars that we cannot afford. The other removes the repeal of the Joint Health Care Reform Oversight Committee. So what this was, in the original bill that the Democrats passed, it removes the Oversight Committee. This amendment would have repealed that. We would have taken it right out and said, no, we need an oversight. What happens if there's runaway spending? They don't care. Well, I voted for the amendment, but of course, according to the Democrat caucus sheet, drink the Kool-Aid. You're going to vote no on all Republicans. They did. So, you know, that's why I'm really happy that I saw this paper, because I'm going, are these people for real? Why are they voting no on good amendments? But they're doing it, you know, because that's what they're being told. And God forbid if you do not do what they're telling you to do. The other is removes the repeal of the state-based health care exchange and marketplace. You know, we needed that. That failed. Removes the requirement for at least 3 qualified health plans to be available on the exchange. Well, what's wrong with competition? Oh no, they want one. They want Obamacare, and they want, uh, uh, you know what Obamacare really is? It's the Affordable Care Act tax. It is a tax. They're saying it's health care. Well, it's not. It's a tax. But they keep voting no on all of these. And so when I saw this, it was just, it really bothered me. And here's another one that Representative Lori Sanborn, she wrote, and Representative Neil Kirk, he's up in Ware. He used to be our rep down here until redistricting. He's really smart in the finance area. And, Lori Sanborn, Rep Sanborn, she's really good too. But here it says, under Medicaid, under Obamacare, would add about 50 to 60,000 individuals to the program. That's just here in New Hampshire. The state only owes 10%. That's all we have to pay, because according to the feds, they're going to pay 90%. I'm sorry, they're going to pay 100% the first 3 years and then 90% thereafter. I kind of question that. For one, I think you guys know the federal government is broke. So really, where are they going to come up with this money? The federal government is broke. We really are. We're what, 17 trillion in debt? The time this airs, which will only be a week, we could be 18 trillion the way we spend money down there. I mean, they just spend money like there's no tomorrow. And I did want to talk, where did I put that, about schools? Yes. They're telling us 10%. That's all we have to pay after 3 years. Right now, they're going to pay 100% for the first 3 years. So they're saying, this is a great deal. It's going to cost you nothing. Well, some states are signing up. 26 states are saying no. We're one of those 26. But half are saying, yeah, we'll take it. But they don't realize 10%, according to the figures that I'm seeing, is going to cost us $40 to $45 million every 2 years. So that's 22.5 to 23 million every year. That's just for 10%. Remember that number, 10%. So what that means, could we absorb 20 million? Probably. But this is what I wanted to point out. The feds say they'll pay 100% the first 3 years and then 90% thereafter. Well, they also said, we're going to pay 47% of the school mandates we have put on you. Currently, guess what? They're only paying 17%. So how can they say that they're going to pay 47 and really only pay 17? That is what I'm asking. All right? So what assurance do we have? And when I asked that, nobody had an answer. Well, they said they're going to. Okay, they're saying they're going to pay 100. Well, they said they're going to pay 47% of these mandates from the school. But they're only paying 17. So how does that work? And even the state does this. Remember the state aid to retirement? Because we got a huge retirement bill. We got to get that under control. But it's 45% the state used to pay. Then it went to 30%. Then it went down to 25%. And guess what it is today? A big fat zero. So all of the local municipalities have to pay 100% of the workers' retirement instead of, whatever the percentage used to be. I think the workers put in just a very little, and then the state used to put in 45%, and then the town put in the rest. So say the town had to put in 40, 45%, whatever it was, to reach the 90, 95%. And then the employee had to pay the 5 or 10%, whatever they paid toward their retirement. That's another case. They didn't follow through. And again, so with the government bankrupt, how are they going to pay this? Eventually they would say, hey, look, you guys, we don't have the money. So we're going to drop that down to 50 million. And if 10% is only is 40 to 45 million, I could only imagine what 50% is going to be. You know, do the math. And then these are low numbers. You know how everything works down to the federal government. They say, oh, it's only going to cost this much. Well, then it ends up costing us 3 times as much. Now, there was a bill, an amendment that I supported, but it got pulled at the end because of time restraints up to the State House. The Senate said, hey, look, we're leaving at 5 o'clock, you know, send that bill over here. We want to look at it. So, there's a few people, and Representative Hull from Dunbarton, he did pull his amendment, and I was going to speak on it. And what that was going to do is it was going to, anybody that could work had to work if they got Medicaid. So at least they're paying something toward this, and hopefully, they would, try to better themselves to get off Medicaid, because that is one of my biggest concerns. Again, the truly needy that deserves to be there. I'm all for that. We need a safety net. It's the people that have no incentive to better themselves. And I've heard of this. It was just, where was that? What state it was? I can't recall it, but I read an article where this person got a job and she was going to make $12 an hour, and she was on Medicaid at that point. And she goes to her boss and says, hey, look, that's too much money. I'm going to lose my benefits. And in order for me to pay for my health care, it's going to cost this much money. So then I'm going to lose money at $12 an hour. Could you lower me down to $10.50 or $10 an hour or whatever she said? And the employer said, no, we're not going to. So she threw a hissy fit and had a fit about it. But, at least the employer did the right thing. So that's one of the reasons, a couple other reasons why I voted no. Let me make sure that I got everything here taken care of. Oh, no, there is one more. Just as I was just saying, we're going to discourage people, that are currently, working that could be on Medicaid. We're going to discourage them because healthcare is expensive. I remember when I was in the tree business, I had a $5,000 deductible. It cost me around $180, $85 a month for it. I never used it. All the years I had it for a long time. Knock on wood, I never used it, so I was happy. Anytime I went to the doctors, I paid the bill, because it was a $5,000 deductible, and, that's what I could afford. But I never stopped working hard to get better. That's what people are supposed to do. The other is what, they brought it up about Vermont. Vermont is they got the healthcare exchange over there. They're basically bankrupt. The amount of federal money they're receiving from the feds, once that stops, I don't know how they're going to go bankrupt like Detroit. They are. They're the most taxed state right now in the nation. And I'm from Vermont, and it was a good state, but not, it's out of control with their taxes over there. They receive way more money than they pay in. And another thing that they do is Vermont steals all the time from their highway fund. And it shows. We have good roads, and luckily it's in our Constitution that all of our highway funds, it says all, but only, I think it's 74% of it, but still, that's a big chunk. That's not like Vermont, goes to our highways. The rest of it goes to the Department of Safety and some other things that are thrown in there. But Vermont is constantly stealing the highway fund. So now they got these bridges that are truly in trouble. And talking about that, did you see, before I don't want to get off topic here of the expanded Medicaid, but our gas tax is back in 2 different forms. I'll bring more information on that. But that's going to be the problem, is if we vote for this expanded Medicaid, I guarantee you, almost, we'll have an income tax or a sales tax. Chances are they would pick income. Well, I don't want that for New Hampshire. We don't need it. I watched this video that the states that have enacted this, there's less money for roads. And like I said, the gas tax is back, so they'll be saying, oh, well, we're going to have more money for the roads. Well, if we didn't have this, we wouldn't need it. The other is there's less money for teachers. Classrooms are already full now. Less money for policemen. Crime is up in Goffstown. That is what's going to happen with these increases that we keep getting. Because we're not looking at the long term, and that's what we have to. What's some of the others? I was, like I said, I was paying, for my own health care, and we're going to take, 25 to 30,000 people that are paying for their health care, take them right off the roll, out of the private care. We shouldn't do that. It's like up in the North Country. Yeah, I did make notes of that. They said, well, we need it up here. Well, what I think they need is jobs. That's what the Senate should be working and the House should be working on. We shouldn't be talking about expanding Medicaid out of the 100% poverty line. That's why we have these limits. We say, okay, the poverty line is this X number. So if you're from 0 to 100%, you qualify for this, this, and this. And again, the truly needy, I'm willing to help. The ones that are abusing it, get a damn job. So when I look at this, in the North Country says, well, we need it. Well, you know what the governors do every 2 years that run for governor? They walk around and they say, oh, we got to do something with the North Country. Once they get elected, they don't even know what's above the Franconia notch. Well, there used to be a lot of jobs. Well, let's bring some jobs back up there because I'm a huge supporter of the North Country. We got to get jobs back up there, and I don't think the state of New Hampshire is even attempting to help with that situation. Now, they did build a new prison over there, and they're building a new wood chip plant, and that is going to help, but we need real factory jobs up there. Just like we have down here. The service industry, those jobs are good. We have to have them, but usually they're not great paying. We need to bring some good manufacturing jobs up there. And we got Canada just up there across the border there. Why can't we go up there and steal a few of their businesses? We used to do that all the time. Have some incentives to draw those companies down here. Because we need to help these people. Because what bothers me is every time those paper mills shut down, the first thing the state did is they walked in here and said, oh, well, here's how you get food stamps, here's how you sign up for Medicaid, here's how you sign up for all this and this and this. It's all government. Well, hey, government, how about bring some jobs up there, make some incentives and see if that helps. That's what I believe in. I'm just trying to think what else I was going to cover on that topic. Oh, on that amendment. That was really funny. I almost forgot this. This is so funny. I read the amendment and it looked really good. Well, the night before the House, November 21st, so on the 20th, Representative Houle calls me at home and he goes, John, we got a problem. And I said, what's that? I put in another amendment. I said, what's wrong with the amendment I'm supporting here? We forgot to put an age limit on it. And I go, what do you mean, an age limit? Because when I read it, it looked okay. And even the lawyers up there, the legislative services, they write up our bills once we tell them what we want. They missed it too. I missed it. And I don't know who pointed it out to Representative Houle, but he goes, yeah, we forgot to put an age limit, so really somebody 5, 6 years old that's on Medicaid, they have to go to the unemployment office and look for a job. And I said, oh, yeah, that's a problem. I guess we should fix that. So they did fix that, and it was just funny. But, like I said, I just don't want to take any incentives for people to benefit, to better themselves. And that's what I'm afraid of is we have this huge population of young kids. that, receive food stamps and Medicaid and EBT cards and Obama phones and a whole bunch of stuff that they're receiving, where is their incentive to work hard to have something? It's not there. And that's why I'm against some of this stuff. Again, the truly needy, help them. But, I wrote on here, and I was going to say this on the House floor. When I was 20 years old, I bought my first house. I worked a ton of overtime at this factory. I was working from 18 to 20, or, I worked there after that too. But I worked, a lot of overtime. I had 2 kids. I was, a pretty young parent. My wife stayed home. She took care of the kids. I worked as much as I could just to provide and to buy this house, so to get the down payment. And, my mother-in-law, I think she had to kick in like $1,000, and, we paid her back over a year. But so we're $1,000 away from having the down payment. And, so I was appreciative that she helped us on that. But in 1980, I was 20 years old. And, just what was funny is I paid $35,500 for that. And, I'll tell you the ear chewing I got from my mother on the amount I spent. She goes, "Oh my God, what do you do? Live in a mansion?" Could you imagine, paying $35,000 now? But my father-in-law, he's up on Holly Street. I think he only paid $400 or $4,500 in 1960 or 61 for his house where my wife grew up. It was just funny, the differences in prices. And today, you couldn't buy nothing for that. But anyways, I guess I'll wrap up now. I just want to thank you for watching, and I really enjoy coming on and talking to you. And, like I said, if you could email me, I'll try to get some more information about that DWI, bill. Just email me your thoughts if you think, that people that, mess up the first time, I'd like to, just slap them upside the head and say, "Stupid, don't do that again." But, it happens, and, should the family suffer for it? So, I want to look at this bill. It has caught my interest. I think it could be a good bill. Oh, there is one thing on the bottom that, if there's injuries, somebody pointed that out when I was talking to them about it. They're not sure if they're going to support this, and I guess I'm going to have to look at that too. If there's injuries, and like I said, I haven't seen the bill. I may not support it, because if there's injuries, they really screwed up. And, I guess they need to, pay the piper at that point. So let me look at the bill and I'll get back to you, but, send me your thoughts. And I love hearing from you, and let me know about the show and, what I could do to improve. And, I really appreciate that. And until next time, this is New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I want to thank you again for watching. You have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye now.